On today's 700 Club Canada, an interview with singer-songwriter Jake Fretz and Walker experiences a changed heart.
Welcome to the 700 Club Canada. I hope you're having an amazing day. Thank you so much for joining us. And today we're talking about worship.
Yes.
And I think a lot of times worship has been relegated to performance or perfection.
Yeah.
But what I've really learned in my life, it's actually surrender. Anything you surrender to God is your act of worship.
Yeah, worship might sound like a churchy word, right? But we all worship something, right? Even in our culture, there's a lot of people or positions that we worship, but it's really about who, which is what it should be, our heart is centered on. And so today I'm excited to welcome our guest. In a season of both sprinting and stillness, Jake Fretz found a deeper trust in God. He shares how that journey inspired his new album, Run and Rest. But first, here's a look at the powerful song that became a top Canadian hit on Christian radio. Please enjoy.
Your heart burns for us. I feel far from dawn till dusk. So Lord, I will burn for you. Your love runs to us. You push past our brokenness. So Lord, I will run to you. You are treasure, Jesus, you're my treasure. Nothing else is better. All I want, nothing less than you. Treasure, Jesus, you're my treasure. Nothing else is better. All I want, nothing less than treasure. Treasure. Your hope sings a song, a melody that calls us home. Oh God, our only hope is you. Oh Lord, you seek us out. Every lost will soon be found. You left 99 behind to find us. That's what makes you treasure. Jesus, you're my treasure. Nothing else is better. All I want is nothing less than you. Treasure, Jesus, you're my treasure. Nothing else is better. All I want is nothing less than treasure. Treasure, you're my treasure. Treasure. I'm running for you. I fix my eyes on you. I'm running for you. I fix my eyes on you. I'm running for you. I fix my eyes on you. I run for you. You are treasure, Jesus, you're my treasure. Nothing else is better. All I want is nothing less than you. Treasure, Jesus, you're my treasure. Nothing else is better. All I want is nothing less than treasure. Treasure, I own your treasure. My treasure.
Well, welcome, Jake. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
We just heard your song Treasure that is on your new album, Run and Rest, that's coming out this week. What a great song. It was such a fun song, but a powerful message behind it. So thanks for sharing that with us.
Thank you so much.
Well, maybe you can share a bit of the story behind this title, Run and Rest. It's a little bit of a different title for an album. So why did you choose that? And why this season of your life? Like, how did this album come about?
Sure. This album, Run and Rest, came out over the last 2 years of my life as I've been writing these songs and bringing them to production. It's been a unique season where I've had to do a lot of running. I'm a full-time pastor. I'm a independent artist. I'm a father of four. I've been working on citywide worship events in our city, and God keeps opening more and more opportunities for me. And every time He does, it's exciting. But I have to stop and look and say, am I doing too much? Am I running too hard? And when I stop and when I pray, I ask God, God, do you want me to pause? And He simply says, no, I've put these opportunities in front of you, and the time is now. So I tie up my shoes, I start running, I start working, and then I get to experience God changing people's lives and I get to work with them. So that's on one side. And on the other side, what's been amazing is I've been going through the season where the Holy Spirit's been drawing me close and saying, now rest, stop,
Mhm.
pause, practice Sabbath. And as I've been doing this, it almost feels like a split personality where I have to trust Him in both of these circumstances. But as I've been doing it, what I found in both places is His presence, and I'm learning to
Mm.
treasure that.
Yeah, I mean, really, they kind of look like contradictory seasons. If
Absolutely.
but you're talking about really building those together. And so, kind of on that same vein, then, what did you learn about balancing that tension between running with God's calling and what He's calling you towards, but also resting in His presence in the middle of that together?
Yeah. In short, trust is what I've been learning. Proverbs 3 tells us that we are supposed to trust in the Lord with all of our heart, lean not on our own understanding, commit our ways to Him, and He makes our paths straight. And what I've realized is that if God is calling me to run with Him, then it's time to run. And I can trust that He's going to provide the strength that I need to be able to go with Him. And then when He calls me to rest, then I'm going to rest and pause and be with Him because He's going to give me what He needs in those times, or what I need in those times. Ultimately, it comes down to the fact that God introduces Himself as I am, the one who is present with us. So ultimately, it doesn't matter what my circumstances are. My response actually needs to be the same as Him. If I made Him His image, or in His image, and He's being present with us, then my job is just simply to be present with Him, no matter what's going on. And then on top of that, I just need to know that it's His story and I'm a supporting actor in that story. So as I go with Him into whatever He puts in front of me, I know it's going to be the best that He has for me.
I love that. Like our seasons of rest or those even moments of rest in His presence are what gives us the endurance, the strength that we need to run when He's calling us. And it also helps us to be obedient in those moments where He is calling us to run, to pursue, to go, or whatever it might look like for each of us. Well, we just listened to your song Treasure, and it became one of the top Canadian songs on Christian radio. Why do you think, I have my thoughts as I listened to it, but why do you think that song so resonated with people?
Yeah, I think there's probably two easy reasons. One, as humans, we're created for relationship with Jesus. We're created to have Him at the center of our being. And this song is about treasuring Him the way that He has treasured us, the way that He loves us, the way that He desires us and pursues us. So I think that is relatable to anybody and to everybody. In addition to that, I think it's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun making that song, and the inspiration came from both African culture and Latino culture. And as those cultures have taught me to meet with Jesus in a deeper and more sincere way, that's shaped the music. And I think therefore the music is now more accessible to more people. So I think that's probably behind the reasoning of why it's being so or received so well. It's a lot of fun, and people can connect with it.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's centered obviously around Jesus and our desire to be with Him for His presence, but it does have that really upbeat music, and I love it. It is a fun way of just being reminded that God's presence, even in the rest, right? There is an upbeatness about it. It's fun being in
Mm,
God's presence. And so,
yeah.
yeah, you one of the things as I've gotten to know you a little bit, just as we kind of conclude our time together here, is that your songs have reached people globally, but you've also stayed really deeply rooted. You talked about being a pastor in your local church and leading worship there. And you're talking about the tension of run and rest, where I've also seen you have a very global platform, but a very local investment. And so, why is that important to you? And how do you really balance those two worlds?
Uh, Above my desk, I have in permanent marker. I have a saying that says, "Home is the prize," and
Mm,
that's because I need the constant reminder that our job is to love the people that are immediately around us first.
yeah.
And as I began to love the people around me in my family, in my congregation and community, And as I begin to write for them, I've watched God's kingdom come, and I've watched God working in their lives. What's unique about this is now God keeps bringing more and more people into that circle. And so that circle is growing, and that circle of influence is growing as I continue to love those people who are right next to me. But it really comes down to loving the person who's right beside you and paying attention to what God is doing in that moment. The rest comes as he wills it.
Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you for that reminder. And I know this album will impact people's lives as we all have to learn to run and rest with God. So thank you for that.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Well, for more information on Jake and his music, you can go to 700club.ca. And now Walker Hayes had hit songs and millions of fans. But behind the music was a story of struggle and loss. Hear his incredible journey of transformation.
He put the fancy in country music.
Yeah, we fancy like Applebee's on a date.
Walker Hayes' viral TikTok video amassed nearly 40 million views and nearly 100 million on YouTube. Though stardom may have happened overnight, Walker's success took time. After playing his first gig in their hometown of Mobile, Alabama in 2004, Walker and his wife Lainey decided to go all in for a career in country music.
I just said, well, what do you think about moving to Nashville?
I was dead set that he was gonna make it, and I would be shocked if he didn't.
In 2010, he charted his first song, Pants. As his career ramped up, so did his drinking.
When did you notice that your drinking was actually a problem?
I had my first beer when I was 13, and I remember being a different person because of that in my hand. As a songwriter, it was no one looked at me like, hey, it's 11 in the morning. You sure you want to go to that bar, right now and crack it? I mean, that's what we did.
One cold Saturday in January 2014, Lainey met Laura Cooper, who invited Lainey and their family to a Saturday night church service where her husband Craig was the pastor. Walker had had a few drinks, but he agreed to go.
He walked in the doors, and Walker says the first thing I said to him was, "Glad you're here." I was just grateful that they showed up.
Over the next few years, Pastor Craig Cooper and Walker became close friends, though Walker still wanted nothing to do with religion.
You considered yourself an atheist.
Yeah.
What did you specifically have against Christianity?
My dad was a former music minister before he was a real estate agent. I saw a lot of hurt in that church.
In 2015, Walker lost his record deal and had their family van repossessed by the label. Discouraged about his career and with 5 kids at the time, Walker began working an overnight shift at Costco. That's when Craig decided to give their family van to Walker.
Their unconditional love, it was so different from what we were used to.
In 2016, Walker signed a new contract with Monument Records. The next year, he wrote and recorded a song called Craig.
But Craig, I get it. So now he can't walk on water.
Craig had been dealing with his own discouragement in ministry. The song affected him deeply.
It's one of the greatest expressions of kindness that I have ever received. And it hit right at the heart of what's most important to me, and that's my relationship with Jesus. And I felt God himself like singing over me through my unbelieving friend. Wow.
One day, Walker surprised Craig with a thought.
Walker said, "I will believe there's a God if I could stop drinking." So he just started praying that God would take the desire for alcohol away from him. And boy, he did.
When he quit on that Saturday, it wasn't with the intent of I'm done drinking. It just was one day he wasn't drinking, and then the next day he didn't, and then the next day, and it's miraculous that he stopped that way.
In 2018, tragedy struck the Hayes family as their daughter Oakley died shortly after birth.
I found myself screaming at a God that I didn't believe was there. I would stand out in my driveway and just yell at someone. That was a confusing point, in my life.
I had prayed previously, Lord, to do whatever you need to do to draw him to you. And so I had this, I'm like, oh, Lord, is that what, what you had to do? And that was hard.
Oakley's death caused Walker to desire a change.
That had a lot to do with my despair, my desire for a cure for myself, from the disease of me.
Walker told Laney he craved transformation and rest.
I went and got a Bible and just started reading and reading and reading.
The kids and I would come downstairs in the mornings. He was usually the first one up, and he'd be sitting at the end of the kitchen counter reading the Bible, and it was amazing to watch. The transformation and just the power of the Holy Spirit through him in that season was incredible.
Walker had given his life to Christ and couldn't wait to share the news with Craig.
I said, I believe.
And I said, you believe? What do you believe?
I believe it all.
It's like, are you telling me that you believe that Jesus is the Son of God and that you want to live your life for him? He said, that's exactly what I'm saying. I was like,
Together, Walker and Craig have written a New York Times best-selling book, Glad You're Here, about an unlikely friendship and the love of God. Currently, Walker is headlining a tour. He hopes his life proclaims one simple message.
I'm sure if you look on my Instagram right now, there's a lot of people that say things like, oh, I want a family like that. And that's not what I want to say. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that look at my life and say, oh, if I just keep on going, my dream will come true. And that's not what I want to say either. I wish my life said all I ever want is just Jesus. That's it.
We live in a culture, and Walker's story reminds us, that tells us that if we just get it all together, we can have whatever we want. But here's what I've learned. The harder we strive in our own strength, often the worse it gets. We have ambition, but we have mistakes and grief, and they all collide because what we really need is God. In Romans 8:28, it says, we know that in all things God works for the good of those who what? Love him, who have been called according to his purpose. This is such a powerful promise because it's not that he does it sometimes. It's not when it's convenient. It says that in all things. And so when Walker faced loss and doubt and failure, the kind of makes you scream at a God in your driveway, a God that you don't even believe exists. It was this wrestling with grief over the loss of his daughter, his own habits, and a career that seemed to be slipping away. And yet in the middle of all the chaos, and in the middle of your chaos and my chaos, God does something when we begin to trust him, when we begin to trust someone greater than ourselves. And so Walker's surrender wasn't to a life free of struggle, but to a God who holds every broken piece and sees how it all fits into a bigger story. And that is true for you right now. Listen, surrender isn't weakness, it's courage. For Walker, it meant letting God take control of what once controlled him. It meant allowing God's word to reshape his failures, his family, and his purpose. And in doing so, his life began to tell a different story, a story of faith in the chaos, trust under pressure, and hope beyond grief. The only question for you and I is, will we do the same? And if you need God to do something in your life right now, I want to encourage you to reach out to us. Call 855-759-0700. Someone is waiting to pray with you right now. We also have this great resource entitled A New Day, How to Start a Life Surrendered Completely to the God who loves you. Well, now, Jason seemingly had it all, but in his darkest moment, just seconds away from giving up, see how a single phone call changed everything.
At 12 years old, my parents took me to a concert. It was in a big arena, and I was this boy that was not validated. I did not feel accepted. I did not feel noticed. And here was this guy on stage in front of 20,000 people, in a sense being worshiped and loved.
Jason Davis started writing songs and performing them with his friend Chris. By high school, Jason knew where he was headed.
I sold probably 1,000 or 1,500 cassette tapes just in my school over a couple-year period. And I realized in high school, I was like, this is what I love. This is what I want to do.
After high school, Jason got a day job and continued writing and selling his songs. Then at 23, he wrote his first big hit, Captured.
It shot up the charts, became a really big Christian hit song. I made enough money off the song where I was able to quit my job and really spend a solid year just focusing on music and trying to go after it. But I didn't know God at all.
Jason used that one hit as his calling card in the music business. Within 8 years, he had climbed his way to the top.
I was taking meetings with Dr. Dre's people, Eminem's people, worked with the band Sugar Ray, Snoop Dogg, used to have tons of meetings with Jay-Z, and I was developing artists that were getting, multi-million-dollar record deals. Had all the money that I could ever ask for, had everything that I dreamed of, everything. And it was the most empty and miserable I'd ever been in my entire life. Because I realized that I'd gotten everything that I wanted, and I still did not feel loved. I still did not feel like I had love in my life. And when there was nothing left to buy and nothing left to distract me, I got to the point where I said, if this is it, if this is what years and years and years of killing myself produces, if this is what making it looks like, I don't want to be here anymore. And the next day, I went out and I bought 3 bottles of sleeping pills. I checked myself into the Ritz-Carlton, and I was committed that I was not going to check out.
As Jason started to take the pills, his cell phone rang. His business partner asked if he was available to meet with a client the next day.
And I hung up the phone. I said, now what am I going to do? I just told somebody to book their flight. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check out. I'll take this meeting tomorrow, and then I'll just check back in, and I'll finish it. And the next day at that meeting, this guy asked me if I knew Jesus Christ. And no one in my life, I was 33 years old, no one in my life had ever asked me that before.
They talked for hours, and Jason learned about Jesus Christ for the first time. The next morning, he went to the beach near his house.
I was looking at the dark, deep body of water on the ocean, and I was noticing, how wide and vast the darkness in that water was. And I was tracing this narrow path of light back, and it hit me that the light source was called the sun. I closed my eyes in that moment, and I saw the brightest white light. I saw the face of Jesus in bright white light, and I knew for the first time in my life that Jesus was God and this was real. It was the most impactful moment I've ever had in my life. It was the most beautiful moment I've ever had in my life.
Jason asked Jesus Christ into his heart.
I started reading what Jesus said in the Bible, how he said to live your life. I hurt a lot of people in my childhood, a lot of people in my teenage years, a lot of people in my 20s. And to know that I was actually loved and forgiven despite all that drew me to God in a way that he had my heart. And that's when I noticed my life changing. 180-degree change. My thoughts started changing, my heart started changing, my view of people started changing.
Jason doesn't write much these days, but still works in the music industry. Now married, he and his wife Heather manage several musicians and performing artists.
I love Christian music personally, but I also love helping people with a dream that God planted in them. My work is no longer about me getting gratification or getting satisfaction. It's about me pouring into others, loving others, caring and fighting for others. And that is a radical change from where I was, and the only thing that changed was Jesus.
Someone should download the CBN Family app to get an easy view at all of CBN's media. Having access easily to that faith-based content is just so invaluable. This is a great way I could take that with me on the go,
This app is really easy to use. My favorite feature is the fact that you can look at the different feeds, like the news, animations. This app has exactly what you're looking for as far as Christian values go.
Scripture says Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And what I love about This show, the 700 Club Canada, is every day we get to remind people and share that truth that Jesus is their hope and way. And you can be a part of that by joining us as a 700 Club Canada monthly partner. And when you join us, you'll help us share the gospel and the truth of that message to homes all across this nation. And today, when you partner with us, you'll receive 7 steps to spiritual renewal. It's a devotional designed to reignite your faith and awaken God's power in your life. So call today to join at 855-759-0700.
Brokenness and negativity happening in our world today. The world needs to see Jesus, and this devotional can help us do just that. Renewal is the ongoing process in which we're growing to look more like Jesus Christ. People will walk away being more steadfast and unmovable and abounding in their walk with the Lord.
Get your copy of 7 Steps to Spiritual Renewal today. Available now.
On tomorrow's 700 Club Canada, an Israeli company turns air into drinkable water, and we discover a calm that anchors you in any storm. Well, Emily, I love the reminder today that worship is about surrender.
Yes.
And I really like how you said it, because the truth is we are all surrendered to something.
Yes. Yeah.
And we've got to be careful, because whatever we're surrendered to directs our life. And so really we need to be surrendered to God, and really worship is anytime we do that.
Yeah.
And so I need to be, I don't know about you, but I need to be reminded.
Yes,
and so one of the great
absolutely.
apps that we have that's available to you is the CBN Family app. And I love it because you can just go to shows and you can link on 700 Club Canada, watch all the shows there, and there's all kinds of amazing resources. And so that is available to you. I love technology in the sense that it keeps me anchored when I am surrendered to the right things on it, right?
Yeah, but isn't that also, when you think about our days today is so ingrained in our phone, and even that can be a form of worship. If I don't have my phone with me, that's not okay. And
I feel
right?
convicted right now. Yep.
And so that can be a form of worship, or what you're surrendered to if you feel like you can't go a certain amount of time without technology and stuff. So again, is that reminder of recentering our heart to Jesus and allowing him to be the one person, the who that we worship.
So bottom line, just make sure your life is surrendered to God.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we just want to share some partner comments with you, people who have been impacted by the ministry of the 700 Club Canada. Renelia says, thank you for praying for me. God bless you all. Well, thanks so much for writing in.
And Roxanne said, thank you to the staff on your prayer line. Yeah, we appreciate them too. One of the prayer partners prayed a beautiful, heartfelt, and meaningful prayer with me for my brother. Well, Roxanne, we're so glad that we could be there for you. And if you're watching this right now, I want you to know that we are there for you as well. You can call us at any time. We'd love to pray with and for you.
Well, today's power verse is Psalm 95, verse 6. It says, come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord our Maker. We hope today that you know that God is for you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
To contact us, visit 700club.ca.